What's up, everyone? Josh here. Now, before I get into today's review, I do want to acknowledge the fact that I've been a little bit less active on the channel as of late, and there are a couple of reasons for that. I've been extremely busy for the last couple of weeks, and there are a couple of big life changes that might happen in the near future, and those could potentially lead to my video output being decreased for a while. But I'm still here. I'm still watching movies. I caught Bugonia a couple weeks ago, or a week ago, whenever it came out. And if you want to catch all of my reviews and see everything that I have to say about all the films I've been watching, make sure you check out my Letterboxd because I do throw everything on there, even if I don't manage to create a video. Anyways, let's talk about Predator Badlands, which is the latest entry in the Predator franchise. It is helmed by Dan Trachtenberg, I believe is how you say his name. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it. He directed 2022's Prey, which I believe dropped straight on Hulu. I enjoyed that film. Generally speaking, I enjoy these movies. The original is just an awesome 80s action flick with big muscles, big guns, and a giant monster that hunts humans for sports. That's about all there is to it. Most of the sequels for me range from just bad to okay. Prey is definitely at the top of the heap, so I was excited to see what Trachtenberg would do next. This one has been divisive ever since that first trailer dropped for a number of reasons. First and foremost, people don't like the redesign of the Predator in this one, and I'll level with you people who do have that sentiment. I agree, it's not my favorite design of the bunch, but I've seen a number of other complaints online, such as this being the first Predator movie to not be rated R. Instead, this is PG-13 because it actually doesn't have a single human character in it, so there's no red blood, and that's how they're able to get away with that and still have some gore here and there. Lastly, this is the first movie to portray the story from the POV of the creature instead of whatever it's hunting, and that was an inspired choice. I understand why it's divisive, but hey, when you're 6 or 7 films into a franchise, you might as well push the boundaries and try something new, and that's something that I respect Trachtenberg for trying. And he's developed a pretty cool premise here. We follow our main character named Deck, who is essentially the runt of his clan, and he's reached the point in his life in which he must prove to his lineage that he's worthy of joining their ranks, and so he must embark on a dangerous hunt. Of all of the creatures to go after, he chooses the Kalisk on a planet called Genna, I believe it was called. Not only is the Kalisk something that is feared by almost the entire race of predators, but also every living organism on this planet wants to kill you. When he arrives there, he meets a Weyland-Yutani synthetic played by Elle Fanning named Thea, and we get a good old underdog story. If you enjoy these movies, chances are a large part of why you enjoy them is the star creature. The Yautja, I believe, is what the race is called, but I'm not a hardcore Predator fanatic, so if I'm mispronouncing that, whoops, my bad. It's pretty clear to me that Trachtenberg has a handle on what makes these creatures badass. He loves the gadgetry, he loves the various designs, the ships, and we get to see a lot of the Predator homeworld in this film, at least in the first and third acts, and that was really cool. Those were some of my favorite parts of the movie, but also exploring this desolate alien planet in which there are literally dozens of different organisms that are all highly dangerous and will kill on sight. And being that Deck is meant to be a runt and kind of deformed, it sort of makes sense and justifies, for me at least, the change in the Predator design, even if it's still not my favorite. At least the movie has some context to justify why he looks this way. And I'm actually pretty okay with the POV switch to the Predator because, again, I want this franchise to remain fresh, so let's try some new things, and if it doesn't work, at least I can respect the bold swing. Overall, I'm happy to report that Predator Badlands is entertaining. It's fun, sometimes badass. Other times a bit tonally disjointed, and we're going to get into that in just a second. I've seen a lot of chatter about Disney acquiring the Predator IP and how they are turning it into Disney's Predator and it's too tame and losing its edge. I wish I could say those people are wrong, but I was kind of feeling that in this movie. There is a lot of humor, and that's either going to work for you or not work for you. And if it does work for you, you're going to like the movie even more. But the humor detracted heavily from my enjoyment. It also commits the sin of having a cute sidekick animal that's entirely CGI and clearly just meant to kind of boost the merchandise potential for this IP. There are just times where it feels very Mandalorian and Grogu, and that's just not what I want from a Predator film. I understand that comes down to personal taste, so again, if you're able to follow this movie's punches and just kind of roll with it, I think you'll have a much better time. And it's not that I dislike the film. It's just that this is not the MCU or Star Wars. I'm happy to follow from the Predator's POV, but I wanted this to be more gritty, more brutal, and less lighthearted. Let's talk about Elle Fanning for a second, because other than the fact that there's way too much humor, I think she was a welcome presence in this movie. She actually plays two androids that are sort of siblings, I guess, as much as two robots can be siblings. Thea, the droid that teams up with Dek, I'm not entirely sure that her personality perfectly meshes with the material either. For one thing, it just boggles my mind as to why Weyland-Yutani would design a robot with her personality, which is very giddy, very puppy dog-ish, for the purpose of capturing a highly dangerous alien organism, which is exactly what they've done here. And they've sent a bunch of backup with her. And all of these other androids are just kind of mindless machines that all have the same thing on their minds. Whereas she is much more in tune with her emotions, which is just a strange contrast, and the movie does have a line of dialogue that tries to explain that. And as much as I like Elle Fanning, I think her dialogue was just too lighthearted and jokey, just like a lot of this. I'm actually kind of puzzled as to why Weyland-Yutani is a thing in this movie at all, because it only serves to further muddle the continuity and confuse fans of Alien and Predator. Is this set in the same universe as the Alien timeline? Who knows? I don't think the creators even truly know what they're doing with that. Thematically speaking, this kind of feels like a deconstruction of the mythology behind the Yautja that we've come to know, and that's another thing that I think will be very divisive with fans. There are parts of it that I like. There's some conflict within the family of Dek, and I appreciate that we kind of explore what makes them worth integrating into the clan and earning their rights to be known as the ultimate hunters. I just wish the found family gimmick didn't feel so cheesy and almost like a rejected Star Wars script. So there are so many things that I like about where Dan Trachtenberg is taking this franchise. I think I enjoyed Prey more than this, and this was certainly a worthwhile effort to do something different. I just think it needed to be more gritty and more brutal, at least for me. And this is definitely going to be one of those reviews that comes down to a very subjective nature. Some people who are totally open to the franchise going in completely different directions than they've gone before will like it more than me. For me personally, this is just popcorn escapism that is probably best served at matinee price. I didn't love it, but it's enjoyable enough. So I'm going to give Predator Badlands 3 stars. Due to the divisive nature of the general plot here, I'm very curious to see what diehard Predator fans are going to think down in the comments. So if you have seen the film, be sure to let me know what you think of it and where does it rank in the franchise for you. As always, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.